We're very excited about episode 66 as we welcome Mike and Patrick with Birdie Network to the podcast. Birdie Network's mission is to create, sustain, and enhance the brand of golf courses through video marketing. Their Instagram handle is at Birdie Network Golf. Chris couldn't make it, but Mike and Patrick, thank you so much for taking the time and hopping on.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for having us.
Yeah. So this is kind of one of the more unique golf companies that we've had on the podcast, which I think is really fascinating. Can you tell us a little bit about what you guys do and how you guys got started?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I've been working in video production, marketing in general at a creative agency for the past few years, but I've been in video for I want to say like 12 years or so. So I've been doing this a while, a lot of different areas, but Chris has an unhealthy obsession with golf and all things golf related. So so he noticed that there was kind of a big gap in the kind of the marketing of these courses where you can you weren't able to see kind of the course from a bird's eye view in a lot of these different courses. So only the top tier ones really had that marketing capability, and he just wanted to be able to kind of expand that and bring it to a lot of different courses. So so he wanted to start Birdie Network and kind of create this network of or a hub of for people to be able to come and see all the courses that we go out there and shoot and provide that marketing capability to them. So that was the goal. Mike and I have both been working in video, so we thought we'd be a good team to do that.
And from my understanding, you guys are all childhood friends, which is pretty awesome. So is it just you three, or do you have other employees that are working for you guys or working with you?
Yeah, it's just the three of us. Mike and I met single A baseball.
We were 8.
8 years old.
Love it.
Met Chris by accident. I was trying to avoid him actually, and then he just wouldn't go away.
Because
He's stuck around like a bad penny.
I didn't want. He's not here. It's just so easy to do that to him. If Mike wasn't here, I'd be doing the same thing. But Chris, great guy. Mike and Chris, they were better friends in high school.
So where exactly are you guys located? I know we kind of touched base before we hopped on, but the reason why I asked that is I was just the whole like demographic of golf courses. They're obviously all over the place. So are you guys kind of targeting one specific area, or are you guys kind of working with all sorts of courses all over the United States?
Sure, yeah. I mean, we're essentially based within like the Northern Virginia DMV area and the suburban area around Washington D.C. We've kind of focused on the surrounding area as far as like Virginia, North Carolina, Maryland, and West Virginia as like kind of our like jumping off point. But we're absolutely willing to expand beyond that, and we're looking to expand beyond that. It's just as far as like the beginning of the company goes, you want to start where you know and then grow from there.
And who are like some of your customers that you guys have right now?
The first course first club we worked with was Bristow Manor in Bristow, Virginia. And then what do we have? What were the other few?
Royal New Kent.
Yeah.
And the Club of Venetera.
Okay.
Yep.
And
sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Patrick. No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say we have Bristow Manor on our site now, and we're working on getting Royal New Kent and Club of Venetera up there in the coming weeks.
Very cool.
Do you guys want to like break down what exactly you do at these golf courses? Because I feel like just me saying you fly drones around is a little inaccurate or doesn't do it justice.
What would you say you do?
Yeah, I had that on there. Just start from like, beginning to end, no, exactly.
Well, I mean, yeah, if you want to take us like step by step,
Yeah,
because I think it'd be an interesting process. Like how I kind of sat down and thought about it. I don't even know how I would start or where I would start.
Sure. Mike, would you like to break down the process there?
Absolutely. So a club is either reaching out to us or we're reaching out to them, and then we start a pre-production process where we look at where they are and where they're based, and then we kind of determine a shooting schedule. We go to the course and we do flyovers of the facility and then all 18 holes. And then after that, when we get back to the post-production side, we enhance all of those flyovers with graphics packages to make it really feel like you're playing like Tiger Woods or you're watching like the Masters at home, so that you get a really good overview of all of the traps, the landing zones, what the greens undulations and topography look like, and add that in with some stellar voiceover from ours truly, Patrick. And it's a pretty extensive package.
Patrick's the voiceover. Awesome. Do you guys put your so when you're doing all this editing and all that, do you put it on their website or do you guys have it on your website? How does that work?
The idea is initially it goes on their website, but the long-term goal for Birdie Network is to be that central location where someone could search by like, region or state or something like that, and find the golf course that they might want to play based off of different parameters or things of that nature.
Okay.
So that is the end goal of Birdie Network, and our name was ambitious, to say the least. Right now it's just a birdie kind of group of courses. So
You got to start somewhere though, and I think it's
yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean, more than two is a network, right?
Yeah, I think you're a network for sure. I agree. I was just kind of curious because I know it'd be kind of like difficult to like take over their website, so to speak, depending on how they
Sure.
like generate that. So I was like, I think that makes more sense. I really wasn't thinking of that way, but so you basically want to be that hub, you search it in that area,
Yeah.
and it will go to your website essentially, and you can pick through the courses.
Yeah, absolutely. I kind of want
Gotcha.
to think of it like kind of like Yelp for golf, right?
Sure.
Where
No,
the
absolutely.
idea is like, okay, so we have everybody has a limited amount of time and resources when it comes to their free time and what they're going to do as far as leisure. So when you're going to look at a course, or you're going to go play a course, you want to know before you go whether or not this is kind of worth your money or worth your time. And even if you're trying to golf on like a budget, right? There's still levels to that. So when you're if you're spending $50, $100, you're spending $150, whatever amount of money it is that you're spending on like your your fees for that day. You want to know beforehand. You want to say like, hey, is this not just a great course, or is the facility taken care of well? What am I getting outside of that? Like when I go to the course, and is the food going to be like a little league baseball game, or am I going to go there? Am I going to have options? And this is going to be a great day that I get to spend with my friends.
I'd actually prefer the little league baseball game food.
I do as well.
You want to know, right?
Yeah, I mean, you want to have the option, right? You want to have you want the information. The
Do
information.
I need to bring the fat wallet or do I need to bring the skinny wallet? Which one
exactly. Yeah.
Do I
When
need
we-
to
when we
coin
create the
jar?
filters-
Good.
Exactly. Are we
When-
sneaking
when we-
stuff or we're not?
When we
What's
get
that?
our fourth course up there and we can start putting filters in on searching when people really need to get down and detailed there, we'll have one that's the food. Is the food going to be Little League baseball, or is it going to be sirloin?
Love it. I will
Um,
say that is one of the more annoying things though, is going onto a golf golf course website, and there's like no gallery.
Right.
Number one thing I think is you're looking for the rates. Obviously, like, okay, what are the rates? And then the second thing is you're looking for the gallery. You're like, what is it? Is there flyover? Is there video, photo, at least photos at the very least? And there's so many courses that have such outdated websites, which is kind of
Oh
wild
yeah.
considering we're 2023.
Yeah.
So I love this whole idea. It's fantastic.
Well, yeah,
If you-
when Chris messaged me, I was like, man, I'm a sucker for a good flyover, because to me, there's no better way to look at the golf course, because obviously anybody can take a good picture of,
Mhm.
tee box to hole, right? But that overhead view, you get to see some undulation, the hills, the bunker, and everything.
Sure.
And the fact that more courses don't do it is kind of a shame, because
Yeah.
there's a lot of courses where it's like, man, I like to see where this goes.
Get them on the Birdie Network.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's if you think about the demographic of the people running courses, right? and the people that generally are playing golf, we have to be honest with each other. It's an older
old.
demographic, right?
Yeah.
And they're not really understanding that, like, to get younger people to be interested in golf, when we are all so stressed for finance, reasons and time reasons. You kind of have to meet us at like the medium that we're going to consume like your content at. So it is something that we saw like a gap in that market. We saw like an opportunity for us to fill a need going forward, and provide options for the people running courses and running clubs. So
Have you found that that age gap is kind of harder to kind of work with or kind of describe to people? Because I don't work in something like super technical or anything, but even I have moments where I'm like, don't you know that? And then I have to like step back and be like, well, no, that's what I'm here for,
Yeah, you're kind
type
of
of
the person
moment.
sure.
out
Yeah.
there, kind of walking through it. Yeah, it's a good
um,
question.
I think it is a challenge for sure. I don't think that clubs are particularly ignorant to technology. It's more so that, like every business, right? You have a budget that is kind of set at the beginning of your fiscal year, and how do you work like a marketing budget into that? I think that's kind of the biggest challenge. I think every course would be like, if they had the money for it, we'd love this. And it's not to say that they don't have the money. I would say most courses have
Sure.
like the ability. It's just more that uh, an unforeseen expense is definitely something like an obstacle to overcome. I would say in any business, even in mine, we could spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on a high scale like production in my regular day job. But when it comes to something like, oh, we need to spend $500 or less on essential things that we need on a day to day basis, there's always a cost justifiable like process that we have to go through. Why do we need to spend that money?
You guys go in
So
there
I
like,
definitely understand it.
do you guys go in there like you're on Shark Tank? Just come there with a drone in there in the computer. Just all three walk into the office.
Yeah, you're creating the drone like a
Like, we're gonna
puppy.
show you how this is done.
Yeah, you
I
walk in
do
like you got a
think
dog.
that would be a successful pitch, probably. I mean,
I think so. Like, these guys are good. Yeah, exactly. I think
We get a cut if you do that.
yeah, we started in kind of the middle of the pandemic, quarantining. So a lot of our outreach has been done via email, and we could probably be doing a lot better if we were knocking on doors and putting an iPad in front of someone and saying, hey, we could be showcasing your course on here just like this. And you know what's really, I think something that we learned that's really great, and it's not something we learned, I think it's pretty obvious, but Mike mentioned it being like Yelp for golf courses. And you're right. It's like you could show up to a golf course, take a couple of pictures from the tee box and say, hey, this is what the course looks like. And you can have a professional photographer do that, and those pictures could look beautiful. Our number one rule when we get the camera up at bird's eye view is this functional? Like, is this a functional point of view? Because we could go too high and then it doesn't show the details we need it to show, or we could go too low and we're right back where we started. So our first rule is it functional? But luckily, when the camera's up there in the right spot, it still looks beautiful. So like, while it is like the Yelp of for golf courses, it's still a very like professional, clean look at these courses, and it's functional. So and that's what we're really aiming for.
is it strategic on like how should I ask this? Like, for example, like we talk about photographers, like there's peak seasons of each
I see what you're saying.
golf course, like whether it's in the middle of May or June here in Minnesota where it's all the grass is like bright green or whatever. Is that strategic for you guys? Is that something you guys think about? Because I know, like you said, when you're up there, everything looks pretty beautiful, but you don't want to take a video of a burnt out golf course, so
Yeah,
to
you
speak.
like
Yeah,
here you couldn't do it in like April.
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely it's definitely like seasonally limited depending on like what region you're operating in, or like um what your course is, as far as like the grass, like, and like the rest of the features around it. But it's just it's not something that we found is like super limiting. And there, for instance, our last two courses, we asked them about that. We were like, hey, would you prefer us to be shooting, towards the spring? And their attitude was surprisingly not that they weren't that concerned about it.
Okay.
Like this is our like essentially this is our course, and like we're relatively proud, especially at like this point in September, October.
To be fair,
Okay.
they're really great courses.
That is true. It's like it's kind of like yeah, of course I want you to look at my Porsche.
Yeah, right, exactly. I did see that on your website, you have like a subscribe button, subscribe. So when you subscribe to your guys' website, what does a subscriber get? Is it just like full access to like everything that you guys are putting on the website,
You're
or
gonna do like a flyover like of my house, or
I you, you hit subscribe and you hear like the drones just like
I
there's
love it.
that subscription in practice. So
Yeah, I
no,
love it.
it's for the blog updates
Okay.
that Chris is largely responsible for, and they're golf related
Sure.
blog
So
posts.
we'll have you guys on for a second time to further down the line, so we can. But no, that makes sense. I was just kind of curious when I first looked at it, though. I was more or less thinking it was more for the golf clubs or golf courses, right? So
Sure,
like
yeah.
you guys would partner with them, and then you'd be, hey, we'll create this content, we'll put it on your website. But then I was thinking, well, might be difficult depending on how their websites are set up. So like I said, it makes sense how you guys are doing that.
it would
Not
be super cool to click it though and just hear no.
Yeah, that's for next.
Like I think that'd be
That
sweet.
would be pretty
I don't
cool.
know how you can do that, but please do.
Actually, like the mouse is actually a drone.
Or just like the propellers.
I'm writing
We're
all this down.
childish over here.
Continue.
Yeah, we're childish all over here. Now I'm losing my train of thought here.
You're gonna ask
So
something.
yeah, so I know again you're kind of starting out with like where you're familiar with area wise. Um, so maybe we're jumping a little bit forward, but let's say there's a couple golf courses out in California that are like, hey, we just came across this. This is awesome. Is that something like, all right, we're heading out? Where is it? You three who goes and does most of all like the recordings? I know that you said Chris is kind of the golf guy and does that. Do you two or all three of you guys all go out there? How does that work?
Yeah, so well, to answer kind of your first question, I was in Palm Springs a couple months ago, and it's I think there's a golf course like every 6 feet or something like that. So I went to a few with an iPad, sat down with some GMs there and tried to get them interested in this, and they were all very receptive to it. But ultimately, we let's just say we don't have any Palm Springs golf courses in our network there. So, but you know what? I think they were interested.
Sure, we'll get them next time.
We'll
Yeah,
get them next time.
absolutely.
But when we actually do the flyovers, let's say because we have a few things. We have the 18-hole flyovers. We also have the club video, brand video. We have a couple different names for it, but the club video. If we were to do the flyovers and the club video, all three of us would go because we'd be knocking out a few things at once. We'd have Mike, he's manning our what we would call like I don't know, like the on the ground camera, the camera.
Our cinema camera.
There you go.
There we go.
Flyovers are pretty cinematic. So it's my cinema drone. Thank you very much.
I would hope so.
So Mike, while Mike is filming, we'll say like amenities, various other things around the club. I'm on the course doing the flyovers. Chris kind of bounces back and forth. We're still kind of figuring out our process, but since I turned off obstacle avoidance, I do actually rely on Chris to be my spotter when I'm getting too close to trees or the obstacles. And so he's been pretty necessary, and well, yeah. So
you-
he bounces back and
You haven't
forth.
damaged
I
any,
would say
have
that
you?
leads me to my question. Like,
Yeah.
have you broken anything
Yeah.
while you're out there?
Yeah, the very first time I turned off obstacle avoidance, I ran it into a tree. So
Did you?
the very
You me
literally
really
the
not
very
want to
first
turn
time.
it off.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, we realized later on that this might be getting into the weeds, but if you start the drone next to an obstacle, which you know what, man, someone's got to, like, I don't know, put out a strongly worded letter here to these courses to quit putting trees near the tee boxes. It's really obnoxious, but
Who does that?
or poles, telephone poles, things of that nature, power lines.
Phone booths.
Yeah, just
Porta potties,
anything and
whatever.
everything. Or like birds that won't go anyway. So when you start the drone next to an obstacle and you say, okay, go, it's going to be at an obstacle kind of avoidance speed, which is low speed. So what for our flyovers, we need the drone to go pretty fast. And so we realized that some of our flyovers are kind of slower than others because there was an obstacle around the tee box. So that's something I have to turn off obstacle avoidance, and that goes away. So
Do you have to like does it require like a license to run one of those? Because I know when I first bought a DJ the Phantom 2 or whatever it was, like obviously it was starting to like grow really, like it was going crazy. So like they were like, hey, you can't bring this drone here. You either have to have a license and all that. So do they require a license like on a golf course? And if so, how do you obtain one of those
So you
bad
have
boys?
the app.
I used to have that.
So the DJI app, because I'm a proud new owner of a drone. I'm pretty pumped. I've only flown it in my house. My dog hated it. And by that, I mean it hovered and then I could not land it.
Oh, see, I could drive it, but it's just like more like the
But anyways, on the app, it tells you like do not fly zones.
gotcha. Okay.
Obviously, unless you have a license. So
So do
well,
you have a
so
license, Patrick?
I do have a license. It's a
Sweet.
Part 107 license from the FAA. It's required if you are operating the drone for like business purposes. So if you're
Commercial
making
use
money
or
off
whatnot.
of it,
Commercial use. Yeah.
commercial use is the
is it
phrase.
based on weight as well? Because I know like I bought the Mavic Mini, and I know that's what I was reading where that drone's really popular because it weighs under a certain amount of grams, which makes it less like you don't need a license for it. It's a little bit more consumer grade.
There is a weight factor. I did pass the test. That doesn't
Well, that's
exactly.
good.
Next question.
That's
My
good.
next question.
I did pass the test. Now,
Well, that's good.
whether or how much knowledge was retained since passing said test is another question. But there's airspace
Limitations. So
line.
you have
Um,
airspace limitations. You have you have a ceiling that you can operate under without inputting your license. So in order to exceed that, you have to put in your license code. So Patrick has like a code that he has like put into like, our controller.
Drone zone is
It's kind of like your license number.
You have to go on Drone Zone and request permission to you can raise you can raise that ceiling. So like there's the different airspaces. So if you were to go on that app that you were talking about and it says that you can't fly above 200 feet above ground level or 200 feet AGL, you can say, hey, I need to fly above that, but I'm fully aware of the airspace that I'm in. Can I request to fly higher than that? And they can decide to approve or reject your request. And our very first shoot was actually right next to an airport, and so we had to have that request put in, and it was approved. But the limitation was 0. So it was a no-fly zone. There's a difference, but it was essentially a no-fly zone. So I just put in the request to go from 0 to 200. They approved it, and it was totally fine. We live right near DC, and where my house physically is, I'm on the border of an actual no-fly zone, which means like it's a no-fly zone, and you are not going to fly here. There are small businesses that have been approved to fly in the DC area and surrounding area, but it's very difficult to get that approval, and we're not even going to try. So
I don't know why, but it just like you're talking about near the airport, it reminded me of Dumb and Dumber when he's like, "It's okay, I'm a limo driver."
I'm a
Like,
limo
you just like wave your like license around. It's like, okay, that's fine. I have
Yeah.
a pilot license. We're
Yeah.
good.
So I just pulled up the app. I had to log in and everything.
Which
So
app is it?
the DJI Fly app. So like you put your phone in it
Yeah.
and you go like
Yeah, okay.
so again, beginner drone flyer guy.
A newbie.
So from what I understand, red is bad.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
those
red is essentially like a zero
danger
fly
zone.
zone that you
What
actually
do the big gray circles mean? Because that's new to me.
Show me the gray
That's like the
circle.
circumference of like where you can or can't
shoot.
fly it. I'm not sure.
I use Air Map, which you're.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah,
So-
mine is
I don't know if you can see because it's too,
my
They-
computer.
it's too bright, but it's
Yeah.
kind of like that, except
You
it's
know what? We'll make it dimmer.
So this red right here.
Oh, look
is-
at that.
okay.
Okay. Yeah, we're looking at basically the same thing.
Okay.
So, what for anyone who can't see this, we're looking at the map of the airspace. So basically, there's a huge red area on this map that is DC and the surrounding areas. Inside that red area there's Reagan National Airport that has an airspace that, you know, had there wasn't a red area around it, you'd be able to get permission to fly in there. But then there's a bunch of blue circles. Those are probably
Okay, yep. See those?
airports or something like that.
Regional airports, yeah.
You can't fly in national parks. I don't think you can fly in regional parks either. You know, I went to Hawaii on my honeymoon a few months ago, and there was signs everywhere that said, you know, don't fly your goddamn drone here. So
You're gonna go to jail if you fly
Yeah.
your drone. What is the consequence to that? You get like a big fine and taken away. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't
should we try to
know.
find that out? You guys should try to find that out. We could have you on for a second time.
You want me to test the waters there?
I'll
and
be
see
the
what
guinea
happens?
pig.
Yeah.
Patrick couldn't make it. Mike and Chris could, but Patrick is still in the clinkies.
You might be here in between 18 and 24 months, depending on good.
18
or bad
18 to
poor
24
behavior.
months.
That looks better.
Episode 236. You guys can hop on. Okay, yeah,
It's like you can see like the zone we're in.
sure.
We're gonna fly that. Obviously, we can't go by the fun places.
Yeah, there's certain
But-
areas.
But that's showing you numbers, right? So there's probably a lot of 200s, a lot of 400s.
numbers.
I
You're
don't
not
see
seeing any numbers?
No,
No.
there's like orange circles, and then there's like obviously like red X's and stuff, but and then like little like small like
Yeah, like there's like obviously we're Minnesota, so like we
Yeah,
can't
it'll
go
say
fly
this-
it by like the Vikings stadium.
Well, it may so I use Air Map, but it should be telling you what AGL you can't fly above. And it's like a grid of boxes
So
that say
if I like touch it, right? So like I'm in this little orange circle by the Mississippi River, not telling you where it is. It says altitude zone 500 meters.
yeah. I'm not sure.
that's
I'm
That
gonna get in
sounds-
so much
that sounds
trouble
right.
with
We're
this.
gonna give it
thing.
a whirl. It's like it's kind of what is that like? Ask for forgiveness later. Try it first, and then
500 meters.
something like that.
I don't
That's
know.
like 1700. That's like a like $1 an hour.
We're actually giving an exam later after this episode. So if you guys, we
Yeah.
have 24 questions that we're asking you
Do you
guys.
think
Make sure
when we
you pay
go on our
attention.
trip, we can fly it at the airport, fly it around inside?
No, I know,
No?
absolutely not.
It was
Um,
a serious exam, and I definitely pretend to whenever I get the chance where it's like two truths and a lie, I'm like, I am an FAA licensed pilot. And they're like, oh my God, that's and I'm like, I had to go to a location where there was a guy who took my phone and he put in a little dial pad, and he had his little badge thing that he scanned me in, and he let me in the room and told me not to talk or look at anybody, and they had a camera on me. I had a number 2 pencil that broke. Like it was like a real test, and they were very serious about it.
I'm
So
gonna
it's like
put,
a written
I'm gonna put-
exam and then a fly exam. Is that how that tip? Is that
There
how
was
that
there was no flight exam. There was a guy next to me that was probably like a commercial real pilot that has 400 lives at a time in his hands.
Sure. He's like, you know how to fly this thing, sir?
I was like, hey buddy, You and me. You and me. We know. We know.
We know.
Is that a strat?
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Yeah,
awesome. So,
yeah.
Mike, do you have your license too? Are you FFA approved?
Well, on my resume, it does say FA 107 part 12 pending.
Pending. Okay.
So that really could be any time.
Part
I'm taking
107,
my
part
time with
108,
it.
whatever it takes.
Taking your time. Is it how expensive is it, if you don't mind me asking, to get one?
Is it
I
free?
don't
Like,
know.
can we go do it for fun?
I think it
That'd be
was
a good
100,
fantasy football
Like 125, right?
punishment.
Like wasn't.
125
so
bucks,
not too
something like
bad.
that in an afternoon.
That'd be a fun
And
fantasy football punishment.
and Chris is on what is it,
You have to get your
his
own
sixth attempt right now? Is that
This is your
sixth
fifth.
attempt?
That's
Yeah.
not bad because it's like it's kind of useful. You can throw it on
That's
your
actually not a bad
resume.
punishment.
Yeah, but like it just takes time.
Yeah,
Oh, it's
Yeah.
just like that. Like it is not fun.
that
I
is
like
awesome.
that. That's pretty good. I'm gonna have to remember that.
Chris, annoyingly, Chris has been good at like anything he's ever touched. So he played enough video games, I guess, that he's pretty good at manning the sticks. But you know, something that one of the rules about it is that I'm the licensed pilot or whatever, but as long as I'm there, anyone can be flying the drone.
Okay.
I'm the one that goes to jail when it chops someone's head off. That's the thing.
I can
So,
fly.
yeah,
I'm
it's
pilot.
kind of like
Yeah, Mike is the pilot.
it's kind of like the seatbelt thing, right? Like I'm not wearing. Well, I guess now it's different because
Yeah, now it's different.
I'm of age, but you know I'm like 15 over seatbelts on. You're going to jail.
If they're not wearing a seatbelt, yeah, I think that's still how that works.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying though because
It's a
I'm not
little
15.
gruesome.
Well, I mean, you did say
That's
you had a dream you went to jail.
So I did, yeah, I did.
Maybe
have
that's
a
where you go to
maybe
jail.
maybe that's where it is.
White collar crime.
What is your favorite part of the whole process, and like what's like your least favorite thing from like start to finish?
I think
Good
zipping around
question.
with the drone
Mike,
would be kind of fun.
Yeah.
Mike, what's your favorite part?
I think my favorite part is that at a certain point in our lives, we all decided we were all going to get married within the same month, and this has been a very like good amount of time that we at least get to appropriate for ourselves and away from our wives. However, I would definitely say the struggle with it is that yeah, we are married. We have a lot of expectations on all three of us now that we didn't have kind of at the beginning of the company, and these are some challenges that we're like having to like come up with some obstacle avoidance for.
Time management, essentially.
Yeah, absolutely. Like
Yeah.
at the point in the pandemic when we started the company, we had a lot more availability of time. And 2 years out, with everybody vaccinated and moving forward with our lives as best we can, we don't have that much time anymore. It's back to business as usual. So, what about
It's
you,
almost like
man?
you shouldn't
Well,
get
what's
married.
your
This is what you're saying.
My
I'm
favorite
happily
part.
married. I'm happily
I'm
married.
not,
So
so-
yeah, Dom's not, so he has room to talk. But I enjoy my marriage.
Oh, I definitely do.
Yeah, you gotta add that on there.
I
Right?
enjoy Patrick's marriage too, and keeps him away from me.
What you don't see is the wife's looking at him.
She's like staring. She's like, she
Daggers.
showed me that. Yeah,
Daggers.
I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that. Nothing. Guys.
I'm not doing it.
My favorite part is being on the golf course. I actually there was a few occasions where I looked at Chris and I was like, hey man, this is great. We're on like the ninth hole and we're just like pounding through this thing and it's a nice day and it's like, I don't know, 9:30 in the morning and I'm just kind of flying a drone around on a golf course and no one's bothering us and it was a great time. It's just I could do that. I could do that for a living. There was one where we had like a hard out at like 10 o'clock or something like that, and I just felt really rushed, and I was like, this is not fun. I don't like this at all. I'm not nailing every one of these, and you gotta fly the drone back to the beginning and do it again, and the batteries are dying, and there's golfers coming up behind us, and I got a meeting to get to, and I'm like, yeah, this is not what I want. But that doesn't happen all the time. It's usually the former, where we're just kind of hanging out and flying drones around. That's a good time.
I did want to ask one question before that when you were saying pounding, and I was like, I thought you were saying at neither you guys were pounding beers, working hard. Like that's what right when you said
we we didn't we didn't not do that. I feel
Can you drink and fly drones?
I don't think so.
that is a
Maybe Mike
good
can, Patrick maybe not.
Because now I'm curious.
I don't
That's a good question.
am
You know
am
who
I an
knows?
FAA
Google.
licensed pilot drinking beers while manning my aircraft? Something
That sounds like a
tells
Denzel Washington movie.
I think it's frowned upon.
I'm actually better when I'm drunk.
Yeah, that's what you tell them. Like, trust me, it's totally fine.
Nobody could have landed that plane.
Yeah.
But no, when you were saying that, I guess when you
Not to interrupt, it says don't drink and drone.
don't drink and drone.
Don't let your friends drink and drone.
Oh no, Mike can't either then.
Are you reading
FUI.
bumper stickers now that I can put on our drone?
I was gonna say that's like a perfect sticker right there. Don't
Yeah.
drink and drone. But you were talking about like that process of like golfers playing and all that. What is a full day of shooting? Like how long does that take? I mean, if there's 18 holes, obviously it takes a while. Then have you ever gotten pegged or gotten close?
Yeah, well, so we basically like reserve, I think it's like 3 tee times.
That's what it said.
We go out on the first tee time. On a couple occasions, the first people behind us knew what we were doing, and they just kind of like slowed their pace based on us.
Sure.
That's usually the case. There was the one time I'm talking about, it was that there was a tournament, and they were going out when they were going out, and they didn't give a shit about us. So
it was I'm pretty sure it was a scramble tournament. Everyone and their grandmother was at this course. It's definitely it was definitely intimidating to see the swarm of people at the clubhouse.
I bet.
And there's an uncontrollable horse. Like it's just downhill from there.
Yeah. But so it takes a couple hours, but if it's organized right, it's usually fine. We've got the time we need. I usually get the each hole done with like 2 runs max. I sometimes nail it on the first run, and then we do our circling the green. I'll spend probably not as much time doing that, maybe half as much time, because I'll go left, I'll go right, I'll bring the camera up a little bit higher, I'll get more of like a vertical view of it, and then we move on to the next one. Sometimes we land, sometimes we don't. Depends on how the battery's doing. I'll just fly right over to the next tee box and do that
Keep
one
going.
next. So
How many
I was totally expecting you to say, yeah, sometimes we just crash.
you just
Sometimes-
crash it down.
sometimes you crash. You know what's awesome? So there's a lot of things with the golf course that just are like make flying a drone like just the perfect environment for it. It's like I got a whole runway to like
Mhm.
fly through, and then we have a great landing zone on the green where I just bring the thing down, we drive the golf cart over there, we pick it up, we move it over. Like it's got everything we need.
That's
So,
pretty cool. How many
what a
batteries
great
do you think
recipe for a business.
Yeah, seriously.
Who would have thought that?
That's
Who
awesome. How many batteries do you think you go through like shooting in one round? Like one
Yeah,
round?
we have a portable I don't know what it is, like a charging station basically. So I don't know how many we rent like,
Between 6 and 8.
6 and 8. Okay.
but they're always on the charger.
Yeah.
The controller dies before we run out of
I
batteries.
didn't even think about that
Yeah.
because normally like fly time, depending on how fast you're going, is what 10 to 20 minutes normally, or maybe longer now. Because I know.
So the packs, like if the packs are operating at like 100% efficiency, just kind of like straight out of the box, with very few charges having gone through like depletion cycles.
Mhm.
23 to 26 minutes. It can fluctuate. Battery, like anyone with with cell phone or with an electric car is going to tell you that battery fluctuation is not it's not 100% like dependable, I guess you could say.
Okay. Yeah,
Like this is going to be like, I know how many minutes I'm getting out of this.
sure.
Really, it's like you're kind of operating within a window of like, I hope I'm getting 23. Maybe I'll get 26. That
Yeah.
would be nice. But
no
really,
guarantee.
like as you're getting to about 20 minutes, you kind of calling it a day on that battery and throwing it back on the charger.
And as you might know, it starts yelling at you when your battery
Yeah.
is low.
It's
And
pissed
I
off at you.
love
It's
I
just-
love when that happens and I'm right in the middle of a run that we're doing and I just have to, keep my composure not, and not freak out. But
So as part of your negotiation process to get free golf and
it's part of
free
Chris's negotiation
Chris's
process.
okay.
Of course.
So that's got to be part of, I mean, you're on a golf course, you might as well get some free golf in as well. But we're just gonna ask you some quick rapid fire questions for you guys, and then we'll ask a food question and we'll wrap it up. But so as far as our rapid questions, we always say they're rapid, but they end up being
I have one more question.
Oh, go ahead.
About drones
Oh,
and
yeah.
stuff. That's what we're gonna call this one, drones and stuff.
got it.
So I have yet to like really fly it because it's been kind of cold here. I don't really want to like you're saying like with battery efficiency, it gets cold here, so I don't want to fly it and be like, oh great, I got 10 minutes and then I crash into the ice and it breaks. Yeah. So like if you have to fly it, I put an ND filter on it, so it looks like it's like a little goggle as it's flying around.
Mm.
So I think that's pretty cool. Like what's like a good tip for beginner drone pilots now that they're becoming more and more accessible and affordable to a sense?
I think you are Mike. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, like on basic, like fundamental level, like learning how to use the controls and being confident in your controls is like, I guess, step one. It's one thing to like get out there and like, yeah, this will take her up, this will take her down. I can go a little left and right, but then you
Kind of where I'm at.
now are combining those moves, right? I want to go forward and I want to go left. I want to go forward and I want to not just go left. I want to bank to the left and then kind of rotate around my subject. Um, just kind of getting comfortable. Like, I think flying it within like a relatively safe space, but like not having to do anything like particularly fancy, is just put some hours into it. You don't have to put in. This isn't a 10,000 hour type of thing. I don't think unless you're really trying to become an expert in it, you're not going to be taking our advice. But I think like beyond that, just like step two. Once you've gotten that like comfortability down, just find something that is like interesting for you to shoot around, and to follow as far as like subject goes. When you have your drone, right? Like I mean your drone is like that's for hiking, that's for adventure. It's a really great like pack drone, right? Like you throw it in your backpack and
Oh, my
doesn't take up
drone,
any
yeah.
space. Yeah.
I didn't know who we were talking to.
Not me, I don't have one.
Well, I didn't know if like Patrick
Oh,
had
just
like a
in
really
general?
cool
I
one.
got
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sweet. But it is lightweight. Well, he's a big car guy too, as far as what he does
Sure. Yeah. I mean,
too,
like
so something like that.
that's perfect. I mean, you don't have to like using the drone does not mean you have to go 200 feet in the air.
Right.
Right.
A drone's a perfect tool within any sort of like video setting to remove a lot of the things that we use like in a professional sense. Now they aren't a complete like replacement because there's not like you're not going to get the quality that you're going to get out of a production that knows what they're doing. But for say like something like cars, right? Like showcasing cars for for whatever you're doing. If you're going to car shows, if you're going to trade, you're like, man, I really just want to like throw this up on social because my car, I'm very proud of it. It looks like sick. Like using that subject as like a tool, right? That subject of the car or whether whether it's a house, it's a great way to like figure out your controls and your comfortability around those controls because you have a target that you're essentially aiming at, right? Like keeping within your frame. And now you're like, okay, how do I keep this target on frame and you're kind of working yourself in your muscle memory, because that's kind of really what it's about. Whenever I need to do something, or whenever you need to make some sort of move, that you're not thinking about it ahead of time, which is definitely difficult. But I think most people can, with any sort of modern technological experience, or you ever picked up an Xbox or PlayStation controller, you can get the hang of it pretty quick, as long as you're willing to learn, ask some questions.
It's a good answer.
I actually plan on shooting a Porsche with it because you said Porsche earlier. I've already shot it, and yeah, we're gonna do some aerial stuff with it.
Just knew it. I could feel it. I could sense a Porsche somewhere.
Do you know what kind of Porsche it was?
Uh,
I still don't remember anyway. So
an '89 911 turbo.
that would be sick though.
Fine.
Yeah, it's actually a 2012 911 Turbo S.
Ooh, okay, sure.
Yeah.
Patrick, did you want to add anything on that before you?
No, somewhere in Mike's 16-minute answer, he hit everything I was gonna say. So I
Well,
checked
I did it
checked
for
all
you.
the boxes.
there's nothing left.
All right. Well, in that case, Patrick, I'm going to ask you, rapid fire questions.
Blue.
What's your That's a good answer. Okay.
Purple's better.
Favorite drone to use? What's your favorite drone?
Favorite drone? I've used 2, 3. I've used 3. I guess I've used more than I thought. So there's we currently use the Mavic 2 Pro. The Mavic, the Air, what was it called? The Mavic Air.
Yeah. Oh, well, we had the Mavic.
Whatever. That one was better. That one was better.
It was a
We sold it for stupid reasons. Inexperience. But we actually used the Inspire 2. As Mike was saying earlier, we used it just for the gimbal at one point on a shoot in Oregon a few years ago. We didn't even fly it. We flew it, but we also just used it as a gimbal to get some nice steady shots, like steady cam shots essentially. So because we were out in the wilderness, but
you did like a slider.
Yeah, I liked the Air that we had for about 8 minutes.
It was really nice, and then
it was really nice. The controller was really nice too. The 2 Pro controller looks like it was like the first gen version of this thing that's come a long way since then. Gotcha. Let's just say mistakes were made. I like the Air better.
Okay. Where would be your favorite place to visit and shoot drone footage other than the golf course that you haven't shot before?
Or Hawaii. I feel like everybody says Hawaii.
That would be sick.
Iceland.
Ooh, sick. That'd be sweet.
For sure. Oh, I had a friend in Canada. He's last time I haven't talked to him probably in 6-7 months, but he's in the Canadian Space Force. He's doing something for, like in their space agency. I don't even know. Long and short, he's in Vancouver now, or at least was. He went to Iceland, and he was like, "Man, I'm gonna go to Iceland. I'm gonna get a drone because I'm gonna bring it with, and I want to get some sick footage. You want the footage?" And I said, "No, I have no use for that." But he was like, "I want to send it to you. That's what you do, man. You're working, post production. Help me out here." So I was like, "All right, fine. I'll do it." He asked for a hard drive, like what hard drive I'd want. I tell him, and about 6 minutes into flying the drone, once he was in Iceland, he crashed into a glacier, and it was never seen again.
Oh dang!
So I feel like I have to make
fly
up
it there and
for
try to find it.
my friend Victor's mistake, but yeah,
How about you,
Iceland would be
Patrick?
definitely one pick.
I have mostly whatever. I've shot the places that I really wanted to shoot or couldn't shoot there, like Hawaii. But Iceland's my answer too, stupidly enough. So
it's because of Victor.
It's because he wants to go with me.
Yeah, we'll make a little bro trip of it. We'll go to Iceland and shoot some.
There you go.
Drone stuff.
One of my favorite photographers I follow spent like a month in Iceland before the new year. Yeah, I want to go to Iceland. We gotta figure out a way to monetize
Secret Life of Walter Mitty, man.
It's a great movie that has been very has made an impression on me apparently. It looks like a beautiful place to visit. So
for sure.
And I as well.
We're gonna switch it up. What is the best snack to eat on the golf course or while you're shooting when you're out there? What's the go-to snack?
Well, when I worked at a golf course, I would go to the 10th tee snack bar. So I'm gonna base my answer off the things that I stole from the snack bar.
Okay.
It was I would get as many Snickers as I could and a few beers. That was it. Snickers and beer. Was
Snickers
that,
and beer.
I think
Okay.
that's
Were they frozen Snickers or were they just like
That's interesting enough. They were the frozen, like, yes. So
that is
that
the way to
is
go. That's
my,
underrated. That's an underrated thing. Like if you,
Who the hell freezes a Snickers?
oh, it's
So-
pretty popular actually.
so-
They put them in the beverage cart and they'll have some in the actual where the beers are at.
because the
it's-
beverage cart often is just a cooler, so they want to keep it as cold from the start as they can.
Yep.
So by the end of the day, like they're not
You don't got a bunch of milk.
It's melted.
melted Snickers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, they're like
It's
frozen.
liquid. It's like a Go-Gurt.
It's science.
It's kind of sweet.
Oh god, that's gross. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
But okay, so some frozen Snickers, some beers. That's your go-to snack. Mike, what about you?
So I would say that I guess my answer's been cross-contaminated from golf in general. I think for me the best golf snack is I get like the Costco. No, who drinks Arnold Palmer's?
I like Arnold Palmer's.
I get like the Costco size thing of goldfish, like the flavor
love
blasted goldfish.
Yes.
Because it's got that like cardboard box, like a milk jug. You can just pour that shit into your mouth. You don't get on your fingers, mess up
He
the
doesn't-
camera.
you don't have
mess
like
up
any
your
room for like
clubs.
golf balls or
I
anything because
totally
you have this
picture
cart.
you just like with your own cart and the big goldfish right next to you. Like you
Every
pick
time.
everybody, and
I
then you
bring
gotta
it- I
sit
bring
there
it.
like this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Every day.
Mike travels with things that don't make sense though. But
So do I.
like
What do we got? Oh, is he got a surprise?
Well,
Oh, I
I was
thought you
looking at my like, so I have to. I work in a controlled facility where like there's not a lot of like food options around, so I got to bring all my shit with me every day.
Gotcha.
So like there's I've got like I don't know, I've got a place I can get a sandwich, but I got to walk like a half a mile to. So I bring snacks for days to work, and I got my snack bag here.
Okay, what's your
And,
go-to snack? What's one of your go-to snacks besides goldfish?
So overall, number one overall draft pick, I think for like it should be for anybody unless you have allergies. Peanuts. Peanuts is the absolute best go-to snack. You can bring that any fucking where.
And they're so versatile. You can get salted peanuts, unsalted. You
absolutely.
can get spicy
Chocolate
peanuts.
covered peanuts.
Just as long as they're not
Honey
the
roasted.
No,
Honey
honey
roasted.
roasted are the
Easy.
worst.
I
Get
like
those
honey
out
get
of here.
out.
Absolutely, I'm out on honey
I
roasted.
like honey roasted.
Oh, we
No,
got
get 'em outta
50-50 here.
Dry roasted,
Yeah, this
and
is my podcast though, so it's
it's
really
just-
I'm an extra vote.
No,
hey,
I
when
still
you
go with
guys-
the honey roasted, Patrick.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
When you guys eat buffalo wings, as we all do you dip in ranch or blue cheese
Both.
at the same time?
What are
So
you, like you already chaos?
He actually pulls in his mouth and just smashes
I'm-
each cup into the. I'm gonna definitely be in the
like-
minority. I don't actually put any ranch or blue cheese on
You
my
don't dip.
wings.
see, I like ranch and I like blue cheese. So like if they're like, hey, I have one or the other. I don't care. I'm gonna use either one. So like I'm not super
Interesting.
picky in that sense. That's why I said both. Both at the same time though. I might have to try it. Super Bowl's coming up.
Well, I was wondering because
It's aggressive.
I'm a big fan
It
of
is.
like a buffalo chicken pizza. Buffalo chicken pizza
Oh, yeah.
can be delicious. They often put like blue cheese crumbles on it,
Crumbles.
but I'm still dipping it in ranch because it is a good combination. But it's
I don't dip pizza in ranch though.
Oh
I'm
my
not one of
God,
those.
There's a
I'm
lot of
out
people
on-
that do
you
that.
don't
Yeah.
like honey roasted peanuts and you don't like pizza and ranch.
Okay, so you know what I've learned? Mike's probably my new friend.
First of
I-
all, I am a big ranch pizza, like in pizza
Uh-oh.
dipper. Like when like like
Yeah,
I'm
you-
out on that.
You eat cold
But,
pizza too, right?
Oh, cold
Me?
pizza's the best.
I don't eat cold pizza. What are you nuts?
You look like you eat cold pizza.
I've never eaten cold pizza in my life.
Nah, don't
No.
believe it.
He's got a stash
I'm
of it
out.
in his,
I'm out on
in his
cold
work
Cold
bag.
pizza.
Cold pizza is
Yeah.
actually pretty legit, but I obviously prefer hot pizza. But speaking of pizza, what is the go-to pizza? Like, so for me, it's I'm a pepperoni, mushroom, jalapeno. Those are my three toppings that I
Oh
go with.
wow, I
And
like that.
sometimes I will. Have you ever thrown a little Tabasco sauce on pizza before?
all the time.
Yeah,
It
see,
ends
that's
it
kind
ends
of
up being buffalo.
Yeah.
that's true. But you don't do it too often though. You know what I mean? It's one of
So
those things where
I would prefer like Mike's Red Hot,
yeah,
like as opposed to
to actual
like
Tabasco.
Tabasco.
Sure.
I'm
It's
pretty
just
dialed
better.
in. I'm pretty dialed in on pizza now.
Actually, the move.
Pretty pizza
I'm not a
Order
big
fan.
some right now.
like. I'm not a Tabasco guy. Jordan got me hooked on Tapatio.
Yeah, I don't do
Love
Tapatio.
Tapatio.
No, I can't do it. It's just not my thing.
Shout out
But
Jordan. He sent me a little packets, so I kept them in my
okay.
bag.
All right. So for one last food question, breakfast burrito. What are we putting in the breakfast burrito? Do you and do you dip or do you put the salsa in
Hold
the
on.
burrito?
Do you even like breakfast burritos? We have to start there because not everybody
I
does.
think everyone likes
I'll
breakfast
let him
burritos.
take this.
So
He's very excited to answer.
Yeah, he
there's a
likes
local chain, um, and they have some of the best breakfast burritos you'll ever have. They've got a bunch of locations here, and the other ones are in Albuquerque. I think they have like the same menu. But
It was
so
like
what I put in my breakfast burrito, by the way, they're small enough that you get like three of them. I mean, I get three, but I don't know. Maybe the average person shouldn't get three, but I get three. So
they're that good.
yeah, they're that good. So it's eggs, potatoes, cheese, and chorizo. And I don't think I'm
Mhm.
missing anything. But chorizo. And then so my first bite, I dip, I think, because it's hard to get the salsa like in it, because it's like it's
Sure.
wrapped. So and then after that, I'm just dumping these little cups of salsa on every single bite. And when you order it, they give you like 16 cups. They're like these little baby cups of salsa, and I'm just every bite's like a new cup. And then
and
if
it's
I've got salsa
environmentally
left over, I
sound.
just drink it. So
But I agree. I prefer to have my talk or my breakfast burrito. I would do the same thing. Pour it
yeah.
into the rather
I
than having
almost feel like we're talking about the same breakfast burrito based off the questions you've asked me. So
seriously. Yeah, I think so too.
yeah.
So we're talking about food, and we normally always wrap up our last question, and it's basically if we were to come visit you guys and grab a bite to eat, whether it's breakfast food, a lunch food, or dinner, like where would be the spot to go? I mean, obviously you talked about this breakfast burrito place, which we'd have to hit that up, but where's like the go-to restaurant and food for you guys?
I don't I think we should answer based off DC just because I don't know, Northern
More
Virginia is
options?
full of a lot of
Kind of in the middle.
chains. Yeah, there's not too many like
Mama
unique
Tigre.
places in Northern Virginia. The breakfast burrito place is called Anita's New Mexican Restaurant, food,
Okay.
whatever the fuck it's called.
Mama Tigre.
Mama Tigre is a fusion between Indian and Mexican, and it's really good. I mean,
I
I had
can't
like
even like.
So it's
if you
gonna
like
be
Indian.
ultra spicy, I'd imagine.
It probably comes out you like a rocket too.
Yeah, got it.
I don't know. My guts are fucked up like the next day. So
It's so good.
totally.
It's so good.
I'll say the best pizza in the area, like New York style at least, is Wise Guys in DC. There's a Detroit style pizza place right near my house. This one is in Northern Virginia called Little Beast. So if you like Detroit style pizza,
Hmm.
that place is delicious.
Detroit
But
sounds
Wise
good.
Guys in DC is like New York style. It's like you can get a slice or I get a whole
Whole
pizza,
box. Yeah.
whatever. That's delicious. Yeah. So
Detroit.
those are my recommendations.
Detroit sounds probably like
Yeah,
the best way.
it's a good way to switch it. I actually like the deep dish like Chicago style too, but it is nice to like get a mix. The downside with like deep dish Chicago style is like you literally have one piece or two pieces, and you literally feel
Oh,
like
sure, yeah.
food coma. I mean, they're really good, but
Coma. You said comma.
I just decide that I'm gonna be sick that day. That's my decision before I
See,
get that pizza.
that's what happens. Like if I'm going to Chicago, like I'm gonna get some sort of deep dish pizza and struggle for one day for sure. But
Absolutely.
fellas, oh, I didn't. Did I get Mike? Did you? I didn't get your. You said
Mama
Mama
Tigre.
Tigre.
Mama
Mama
Tigre. It's
Tigre.
Okay, gotcha. Well, it's been a pleasure having you guys on, and again, I think your business model and the Birdie Network itself is very cool, and I'd love to have you guys on down the road with Chris as well, and have another round maybe later this year.
Sure, man. Anytime. Thanks for having us on.
Absolutely. Thank you for
Absolutely.
having us, guys. It was
Really
Yeah,
nice
for
meeting you.
sure. Yeah,
Great
nice to meet
chat.
you guys. You guys take care.
Poor
You too.
Chris.
I know. Poor Chris.
Yeah.
Poor
All right.
everything went well for him in life, Chris.
All
Shout
right.
out, Chris. Next time. Take care, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.